Hello everyone, we're going to explain to you a game called Longball. This is quite a fun game, and it's probably good because the students probably won't have played this one before. It's kind of a mix between baseball and dodgeball, so we'll go into that in a bit more detail about how that's going to work. You can play this with groups sort of from about 20, where you'd have 10 on each team, but you can play with quite large numbers as well. You just need to split the two teams accordingly, okay? You do need to set up a little bit in advance, so you'll see we've got a square at each end of the field, and you can just mark this out with cones or something similar, and essentially this is where the players are going to have to run between, but you need to be able to mark this area because this is like a safe zone, it's like a base as it were, okay? You also need a bat, so a rounders bat or baseball or something similar, or cricket bat even, and you're going to see this player here will have the bat, so this one is the batter for the pink team. You need a ball, so this should be a tennis ball or something small. You just have to imagine that this is a tennis ball as opposed to a football, okay? Although you can actually play an equivalent where they would roll it along the floor and he would kick it as if it was a football. But let's just imagine it's a tennis ball and a bat, okay? For this, the purposes of this video. So you split the two teams, so you see we've got the pink team here, and they're starting with batting. So we've got one player here, he's already lined up to bat, and the rest of the team are just going to stand in a queue, so they'll be next in line to bat. The blue team, so they're going to spread themselves across the field, so their job is to try and catch the ball or throw it around and able to try and get the pink team out, so they want to spread out as much as possible. And then you're just going to have one player here, so you've got this player that we've put in the bib, and that's the bowler, so they're going to be the one who has to throw the ball to the batter. They should throw it underarm, so it shouldn't be thrown too fast, or we're not trying to, we don't want to try and injure any of the players, we want to throw it underarm, make it quite easy for the batter to be able to hit the ball, okay? So, let's see how the game's going to work. So first of all, like I said, the bowler is going to throw the ball, he's going to do this underarm to the batter, okay? And the batter has to try and attempt to swing and hit the tennis ball. So that's fine. If it goes anywhere forwards within the field, that's fine, that's a correct shot. If it goes backwards or the batter misses it, then the bowler can simply throw the ball again, okay? So let's say he's going to throw it, and it's going to be a good shot. So it's going to land, let's say over here somewhere between these two fielders, okay? Now the batter has to drop the bat just on the floor by them, and then they have to try and attempt to run all the way across to the other base on the other side, okay? And let's say these are about 50 meters apart, so it's quite a long way to run. You can make it shorter depending on how many are in each team and how old the players are perhaps. But it should be about 50 meters, so it's quite a long way to run. If the player makes it all the way to this base, then they're safe, okay? But I'm going to explain to you now how the blue team can get the pink players out, okay? So first of all, the first way they can get them out is if the batter hits the ball and one of the fielders catches it, okay? So if the ball doesn't touch the ground and it's caught, then that player is going to be out. So we're just going to put them over there, okay? The second way they can get them out is if they throw the ball and the batter hits it, but it's not caught. So let's say, we went there last time, let's say it lands over here. Then, like I said, they're going to have to attempt to run all the way over to this safe zone. But the blue fielders, they can run and throw the ball to each other, and essentially they have to try and hit the pink player with the ball, okay? And they should do this between the head and, between the neck and the waist, okay? Make sure they're not throwing it too aggressively, and let's just make sure that they're playing sensibly. But this is where it's a little bit like dodgeball. So rather than just simply touching a base, they have to try and hit the player with the ball whilst they're running. So let's say this player throws it, and it's going to hit this player between the neck and the waist. Okay, then that player would also be out. So that's how the players can get out, how the batting team can be out. But how can they score points? So you can see that this player's got all the way over to this base, but that doesn't actually score the pink team any points. So I'm going to explain to you now how this pink team score points. So let's say a few others are going to run and make it all the way over to the base. So they're going to bat, hit the ball, and then they're going to run. And now we've got three players that have all made it over to the other base on the other side. Okay? But at this point, still, like I say, none of them have actually scored points. The pink team can score points by actually making it back to the home base again. So during any batter's turn, the pink team are free to run back to the base. So let's say this batter does quite a good shot, it's going to land over here somewhere, and the pink team think, oh, this is a good chance for us. So obviously this one's going to try and run over to this base, but all of these, however many are over that base, they can try and run, or just one of them or two of them, depending on what they want to do. They can try and run and make it back to the home base. So let's say the blue team obviously are going to field and get the ball, but one of them makes it back and perhaps another one. It's important as soon as a player leaves this base, they're not allowed to run back. So say they get halfway and they think, actually I'm in a bit of trouble here, I might get caught, I'm going to try and run back. They're not allowed to do that. They would actually be out if they did that. Okay? But this player, so they've left the base and they realise now, actually, I might get caught, so they're going to run. And again, like before, if they're hit between the neck and the waist with the ball, then they would actually be out. Okay? So that's how the pink team score points. So by getting back from this base to this one, they get 1 point. There is an exception to this. So let's say a player does a really good hit, so they're gonna hit it all the way over to the far side of the field, and they run and manage to make it back to this base and all the way back to this base in one single turn. Now that would mean actually this team would score 2 points. So it's a bit like a home run that you have in baseball. Okay, so if they make it back here safe, then they're fine, but whenever they want to, they can run back here and that would score them 1 point. If they did it twice in the same turn, then they would score 2 points. Okay? Now, of course, the two teams you're going to need to swap them over. So actually, every time that a team has 3 players out, then you would swap the two teams over. So now the pink team would be bowling and fielding, and the blue team would be batting. Okay? You want to set a certain number of rounds. So let's say once the two teams have swapped over 3 times, then you could say that's the end of the game. Okay, and then you can add up all the scores and see which team's the winner. Okay, so really simple, good mix of baseball and dodgeball. Make sure they play sensibly and no one's getting too carried away, but otherwise than that, it's a really fun game.